Hey guys, and welcome back to the Crawl Room. We're here once again in this wonderful ranty room for all things Formula One. So the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix has come to a close, and what could be said about that one, really? I think had it not been for the VSC and the timing of the last safety car, I think it'd have been a little bit more duller than it actually was, but even then it wasn't a spectacular one, was it? I suppose it was okay for a circuit that is quite tight and quite complicated for overtaking. But yeah, wasn't the most exciting one, wasn't the best, but again, some good results up and down the field, which we're going to divulge in any minute now. So if you've never seen this series before, I award the drivers a maximum of 10 points based on their overall race weekend's performance, and I go all the way down to 0 if they have a particularly bad one. Take a look out for bonus points there. Sometimes not, for some drivers do something extra special during a race. On the rare occasion I do award minus points, those drivers that do something extra special, but for all the wrong reasons. Let's take a look at the current Crawl Room Championship then going into this episode. It's on the screen now for you to take a look at. Have a look and see where your favourite driver currently is, and based on how well they did this weekend, can you see them going up? Can you see them going down? As you can see, we have a new leader. I don't think he's ever led the Crawl Rooms while he's been in Formula One, and that is Alex Albon, of course, taking the lead last time out. So yeah, an impressive performance in Miami. He continues the form here, so can he extend that lead? Will he get caught up? We'll wait and see. And yeah, we've got Liam Lawson plodding at the back of the field there. Jack Doohan, of course, will be replaced with Colapinto. Colapinto will start with 0 of the weeks and, of course, 0 points. So let's see how well he can do on his first race weekend. Let's take a look at the point standings as well then for the teams. They're on the screen as well for you. Have a look and see where those are. Of course, these are built up cumulatively of what the drivers actually score, what I award them over the race weekend. But of course I can manipulate them independently. If I feel a team has drivers that are under-delivering, I can award that team bonus points. If I feel the team are letting the drivers down though, I can award minus points, as you can see there with RB and Ferrari propping up the bottom of the field with loads and loads of minus points due to poor strategy calls and just generally being a bit thick. But that's that, isn't it? It can all change. There's still a long way to go this season. But without further ado then, let's kick things off with the race winner then, shall we? Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen. Unbelievable this weekend from Max. Really is. They've always said that they knew they were going to struggle at the start of the season, and the main thing was keep themselves in the championship hunt till they get to Spain, where these flexi wings are supposedly going to get a lot more rigid, and Red Bull feel they will benefit that because McLaren are stretching those rules somewhat, so they think there's going to be a deficit there that they'll be able to catch up and then mount an attack from. Well, winning in Imola is certainly one way to do that, isn't it, Max? It really is. Qualifying himself in P2, less than half a tenth behind Oscar Piastri, who nabbed that pole. That was a great effort. And then at the start, round the outside, a ballsy move, a ballsy overtake. Piastri, in all fairness to him, gave him the space. I think he didn't cover it off as well as he could have done, but that's not Max's doing. Max saw a gap and he took it. I thought we were going to have repeats of Saudi Arabia, of course, where Piastri just shovels Max off, but of course it was gravel this time, and it makes things slightly different, doesn't it, which is strange. And Oscar gave him the space this time. Max went through, and Max had some great pace, really great pace. We saw in Miami, of course, when Max took the lead, that eventually the McLarens just ended up swooping on by. Great defensive effort by Max there, but this time around that didn't happen. The McLarens just didn't catch up. They didn't do anything with it. A timing of a virtual safety car came out really handy for Max, and that was for Ocon breaking down. And that meant that his lead extended from like 5-6 seconds to 20 seconds. Then we had the full safety car for a similar incident with Antonelli breaking down in a similar sort of position of Ocon. That netted a full safety car, but even then he was in command, in control. He pitted for fresh tyres, he got that free pit stop. Oscar had no fresh tyres to put on, and Lando was bottled up behind his teammate who didn't have fresh tyres. So that gave Max a little bit of an advantage, and across the line he did secure victory. Well done, Max. It's a perfect 10 to you. It can be no less, can it? It can be no other than a perfect 10 for what has been an incredible weekend in a Red Bull that is not the fastest car on the grid, but once again, Max Verstappen doing something special in it and really delivering the goods. He's 22 points behind Oscar Piastri now in the championship. which is certainly keeping himself in the mix at this early stage. He'll be looking to keep that momentum going, take a couple of points off the McLarens here and there, and then hopefully, like Red Bull are predicting, at the Spanish Grand Prix onwards, if Red Bull can certainly close that gap a lot to McLaren, then I think this is going to be Max's championship once again. But there you go. A perfect 10 to Max Verstappen. In second place, we come to Lando Norris in the mighty McLaren, and once again, in that mighty McLaren, not securing victory. It's not on. It's not acceptable. It should have been a pole position, but it wasn't. It was P4. He had a scruffy lap. Behind Max, he shouldn't have been behind. Behind George, he shouldn't have been behind. Started the race P4, continued to be P4. Took him a few too many laps to get past George Russell, but finally did it. Then was running around in third for the remainder of the race, and then only got second as a result as Oscar not being able to pit for any fresh tyres because he didn't have any. But Norris did, and even then it still took him a good few laps that it shouldn't have done. And then when he did get past Piastri eventually, there was too big of a gap to catch up to Max Verstappen. Once again, poor qualifying pace, single one-lap pace. Should be a front row lockout for McLaren and isn't. The race pace itself was okay, but nothing special. Should have got past George sooner. Should have got past his teammate sooner after that second safety car. And he didn't do it. Didn't do enough on the day. And then in that situation, should have won the bloody thing, but didn't. Racecraft lacking, race ability lacking, one-lap pace lacking in a dominant car. And then they have the cheek to say that, oh, we didn't do what we did in Miami because of the cooling of the brakes and it didn't work as well, and load of shit. You've got the dominant car there, guys, and that's not acceptable. It's six to Lando Norris. He can thank me for those as well. I was really tempted with an of the week, but I felt people were certainly more deserving of that with how they ended up in the barriers at points, let's say that. But yeah, 6 to Lando Norris. He can thank me for him. An average performance once again in a car that is capable of doing oh so much more. In third place we come to Oscar Piastri. What's your favourite pastry? Well, he hasn't got one after this weekend, has he? Imola has not been a great race for him at all. Unlucky, I would say, with the timing of that second safety car. But even then, he was only on for second. He was never on for the win. And this is what he should be doing in a car that is capable of winning. He gave Max too much room at the start to allow him to go around the outside. I totally agree with the fact he gave him space once he was there, but he shouldn't have positioned his car in a way that Max was able to go around the outside. There's no way you're ever going to go up the inside of that corner. That is far too risky. But he could have just covered off the outside. Max wouldn't have got through, and it could have been a totally different topic from there. But as it was, Piastri, no racecraft ability on lap 1, taking hints out of Lando Norris's book there of just letting everyone by. Was P2, remained P2, didn't have the pace to re-catch up or re-overtake Max Verstappen. Virtual safety car came out, that was fine, he remained P2. And then the full safety car came out, no fresh tyres, and just lost out to his teammate at the end. That little bit was unlucky at the end, I agree there, but that's the roll of the dice you take by using tyres during a weekend and not having any left should there be a late safety car like that. It's 7 to Oscar, 7. It's he got pole at least, he got pole position, but then blew it on lap 1. Didn't have the pace in that McLaren, which is the mighty McLaren. Yeah, I mean, Oscar's doing a lot better job than Lando this season, without a doubt, but still a little bit rough around the edges, isn't it? And this is my ultimatum. I am giving the McLaren drivers an ultimatum now, speaking about them both. They have been underperforming at times this season. Look how far Oscar would be ahead in the championship had he not spun off in Australia. Look at how well Lando Norris could have done had he had a better racecraft ability and better race pace and not throwing it off and better one-lap performances, etc. So here's the thing. Whichever McLaren driver does not win the Drivers' Championship this year by the end of the season or by whenever it is not mathematically possible for them to win it, they will be getting disqualified on the crawl room if they haven't already done so. I think that's a fair shout. So I'm expecting one McLaren driver to win the title this year, and if neither of them do it, they're both getting disqualified, as is the team. That's my call, that's my judgment, and that's what I'm going to do. So if they're not already disqualified before that happens, then they will be disqualified on this series, regardless of how many of the weeks they've got, regardless of how many points they've got on the board, because this is what McLaren should be doing now. They should be winning the bloody championship. They should have had every single win so far this season, and it's just not happened because the drivers haven't been capable enough, and the team have sometimes let them the drivers down with the strategy calls they've done. So yeah, that is my ultimatum. Sometimes people think I'm over generous or over harsh on this series with the McLaren drivers, depending on your perspective. I think I'm being fair and down the middle, but that is my ultimatum. Either McLaren driver, whichever one does not win the title, gets disqualified. If both of them fail to win the driver's title at the end of the season, they will both be disqualified, and so will the team. So yeah, it's 7 to Oscar for now. Win the chuffing championship or you're out. It's as simple as that. 4th place, we come to Sir Lewis Hamilton in the Ferrari. Nice to see him have a smile on his face at the end of this weekend after a difficult qualifying from the Ferraris. The single lap pace of that Ferrari was not there at all, was it? Both drivers out in Q2. Not good. Not good at all. And even if they'd have got into Q3, they'd have still been 9th and 10th anyway. Judging at that pace, that was pathetic. Caught out by the sudden urge and pace of an Aston Martin that both ended up inside the top 10. But like I say, regardless of that, they're outside the top 10. Hamilton, of course, perfectly timed with the VSC, perfectly timed with the safety car. Initially, it looked like they were going to lose out because they were like, look, you're going to lose 4 positions if we pit you. And now, and they were like, yeah, let's go for it. And he's like, are you sure? But yes, he was sure. The tyre advantage at the end played dividends, and here he is, finishing in P4. Good recovery drive, that. Spot on with the strategy from Ferrari, which makes a change. And great pace from Lewis. Nice to see him do some cool and clever overtakes, and nice to see him feel at one with the car. He said that's the first time he's felt like that since China, which of course is understandable. He won the bloody sprint there, didn't he? So yeah, nice to see Hamilton with a smile on his face. Nice to see him score a good result after a difficult qualifying. It's 8 points. 8 points to Hamilton. Yeah, got lucky with the timings of the VSC and full safety car, but that's the luck you make sometimes, and I think Hamilton's not done great this season in terms of luck, has he? But yeah, a solid 8 to him for that performance. 5th place, we come to Alex Albon in the first of the Williams. My, oh my, oh my. Williams and Alex are having a stunner, aren't they? We are disappointed that they finish here in P5 because it could have been a podium. There were chances there and there was opportunities there that looked like it could have been a P3 finish, which is crazy to say, isn't it? Everyone was saying that Imola might not suit them as well as Miami did, but it certainly did. The car was suited, the drivers were doing a really good job as well. And yeah, we're disappointed with P5 because it was definitely a P4 finish on the cards. He was comfortable in P4. That second safety car came out, they pitted, and came out then P5. And then it looked like you were going to get round Charles. Charles gave him a little biff through the gravel whilst battling for that 4th place. Hamilton went through, and then that put Alex P6, and then Charles let him through to get back to P5. So clever team tactics there by Ferrari to allow Charles through, because whatever points they'd lost with Charles, they gained with Hamilton. So let's not risk a 5-second time penalty, which is going to drop Charles to 9th. We'll just take 6th. Fair play, fair fight in that. And yeah, it was a little bit of a 50-50 move, don't get me wrong. I think you're entitled to more space than Leclerc gave Alex, but both of them said it was a racing incident at the end. Alex himself even admitted he should have maybe been a bit more patient and approached it a little bit differently, but he was eager to get through because he could see that Oscar was pulling away. He was on older tyres, of course. Alex on much fresher. I get it, Alex. I get it. You saw the chance of a podium there in a Williams, on merit as well, let's not forget. So, yeah, a little bit eager, but that's absolutely fine. I'm going to allow that. P5 finish is still a stunning result for a team that scored next to no points all last season. And here they are on over 50 now, cumulatively, between Alex and Carlos. Absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning. So for Alex Albon this weekend, it's going to be 9 points on the board to him. Not quite a perfect 10. I will just knock a little bit of a point off there for that risky overtake on Charles, but he even admitted that himself. Qualified alongside his teammate. There were P6 and P7, I think there were, weren't they? Or P5, P6. Either way, he got out-qualified by Sainz, but it was by a position. I always say you can never line up on the same grid spot, so I'm calling that even. And yeah, a great effort, really great effort. Really pleased once again that we're slightly disappointed with a P5 when it was definitely a P4 on the cards. Could have been a podium. Crazy stuff, crazy stuff. Monaco, different kettle of fish, totally different for overtaking. If they get a good qualifying again, if he gets himself inside that top 5, he'll be having another top 5 finish again. I cannot wait. 9 to Alex, top job. Next up, we come to Sha-la-la. Oh, sha-la-la, sacre bleu, sha-la-la. I honestly don't know what to say, to be honest. It was just a difficult day at the office for Leclerc, as it was for the Ferrari drivers in qualifying on that Saturday. Lined up P11, were able to make progress. The first timing of the first VSC was helpful to the Ferraris. However, that second safety car, the second stoppage in the race, you could say, it benefited Hamilton. It didn't benefit Leclerc. They had no spare tyres available to give. He wanted to stick some softs on, but the he had to do like 17 laps, even though a few of them was quite behind safety car. Ferrari still didn't feel that they were able to go to the end. And then as it was, he was too close to Hamilton to even pit anyway, so Hamilton got priority because Hamilton had the correct tyres on board. And here he is finishing P6. An okay one. Mistakes were made. Like I said, that move with Alex was a little bit 50-50. I do lay the blame a little bit further on Leclerc because if you look at it, he just dove into the corner a little bit, which is what we've seen Max do many occasions, just so he can say he's got the apex. Little bit of a weird ruling. I don't think we should have rulings like this. I think you should just look at it judgmentally and go, he dove into the corner and pushed the car off. Doesn't matter that this car's not quite following alongside you. But either way, they both admitted it were racing at the end. Even Alex did, so that's that. But it's 7 to Leclerc this weekend. He's been the sort of the luckiest one, the best one. He's been matching and beating Hamilton all season long. This time around, however, the strategy didn't play into his hands, and Hamilton just looked to be more comfortable in the car overall. So yeah, solid 7 to Leclerc, but nothing overly special. And then we come to George of the Russell. What's happened to that top 5? Here he is for the first time this season, finishing outside the top 5. In P7. George of the Russell, just a tough day at the office, wasn't it? Initially a great start, looking to look like he's going to go for Max off the line, wasn't it? But then Max went round the outside of Oscar. Oscar was a rolling roadblock then as he went offline to try and avoid Max. George got bottled up behind him. He stayed P3, dropped to P4 as Lando eventually got round him. That was fair enough, all fair in love and war. They were then the first ones to pit, which was not ideal, was it? Then the VSC came out, so that cost them a load of time and a load of positions, and I don't think that second safety car helped either, to be honest, because I don't think they had any fresh tyres left, if I remember rightly, so weren't able to climb back through the field. They just had to kind of maintain where they were. P7 in the end for George of the Russell. A shame, a difficult one for Mercedes this weekend. He's the only scorer for that team this race. So yeah, they'd have been looking after that P3 in qualifying to come away with a lot more than just 6 points, but at least they got something out of it, didn't they? And again, tricky circumstances, unfortunate timing with the VSC safety car, and they were saying they were struggling with tyre life really badly. Like, they don't feel that they could have carried on like the other drivers did. They felt a 2-stop had to be done. And that's ultimately what cost them. A solid 7 to George of the Russell once again for what was a solid performance, but again, nothing special and not the best we've seen of him this season. Finishing in 8th place, we come to the second Williams in Carlos Sainz. Smooth operator, smooth operator. And he does get the full song from me this time because that was a smooth performance. Unfortunately for Carlos, he was put on the bad strategy and then had to recover the situation at every single step of the way. And I think he's done a spirited job to get here in P8 at the end. He had a great start off the line. Did lose out to Alex though, I believe, didn't he? And then he was the first to stop in that first phase before the first VSC. Then when the VSC came out, they decided to stop again, consolidate their losses at that situation. There's no point keeping out on old tyres if everyone else is on fresh. We're just going to go backwards. So yeah, already lost time, was on the fringes of the points when the VSC came out, pitted again, so everyone else got 3 pit stops ahead, came out 15th, and then carved his way onto the fringe of the top 10 once again. Then the safety car came out again, and then he was able to stop, get some fresh tyres on it, and climb his way to P8. I think that's a good effort there, overtaking some faster cars, admittedly on older tyres. But that offset and deficit did play dividends. So was it really unlucky with the first VSC, but I think Williams made the right choice in pitting him under that, despite the fact he'd already stopped, because that then meant he had fresher tyres to go for the end of the race, and it worked well in that aspect. And a great drive by Carlos Sainz to pick up 8th place. He was saying that without that first pit stop under VSC, he'd have adopted the same strategy as Alex Albon. I think we could have easily seen and comfortably seen both Williams inside the top 5 there, had it not been for that. But that's the way nature goes at times. You've got 2 cars up there, you split the strategies, it works for one, it works for another. But I think Williams this time around should have maybe just done all eggs one basket. Let's make sure that we get both cars as high up as we can and keep them there for as long as we can. Yeah, for Carlos Sainz this weekend, it's 8 points from me for him. I think it was a top job, top drive. 8th place this time around does not fully show what the pace of Carlos Sainz was, and didn't fully show what Carlos Sainz was capable of either. Just a top job all round. Just unfortunate with the timings and the strategy calls. But that's not Carlos's fault, and I think he did get the maximum out of it in the end, sort of like he had an arm tie behind his back and did a good job. 8 to Carlos Sainz. Finishing in 9th place, and for the first time this season I can say his name properly because we had no fucking David Croft in commentary. It's Isack Hadjar! And as Harry Benjamin said, Isack Hadjar! Oh, fantastic! You know how to say his name, I'm so proud. Get the other twat fucked off permanently. But yes, here he is, Isack Hadjar. Fantastic stuff. Well done, Isaac. Picking up a couple of points in that RB. Fair play. I don't think there's anything more you can do for that. Really happy with how the strategy went. They was really fortunate with the timing of that second safety car, I believe it was. They did a good job. As did Isaac, to be fair. He really did. Qualified himself inside the top 10. Finishes here inside the top 10. Yeah, you know, you could say not a match for the Williams today, but I honestly don't think that we can compare RB now to Williams. I think Williams are in a league of their own, especially when they're able to beat Ferraris and Mercedes. I think we need to consider RB potentially the front of the top 6 now, or the bottom 4 teams, I should say. So yeah, Isack Hadjar this weekend for me. Great performance, beats his teammate once again, but then again, what's the surprise there? And scores another couple of points for the squad. Fantastic effort, fantastic. It's 9 points to Isaac this weekend for me. For him, great strategic call, great strategic gambles, lucky with the timings of the VSCs and safety cars, but Isaac could have thrown it all away. He didn't. He drove a really smart, mature race, made some good overtakes, and got himself a couple of points to celebrate what was a solid weekend for him. 9 to Isaac. Top job. And rounding out the points finishers, we come to the second Red Bull in Yuki Tsunoda.
Driving for teams like Red Bull, Toro Rosso and Force India, you'd have thought I'd have been moderately successful within Formula One. Nope. Ha!
And there we have it. Of course it had to be, didn't it? It's an of the week to Yuki Tsunoda. What a stunning effort. What a stunning effort that was. An impressive crash. Thank goodness for the halo. I'll say that once again. It has proved dividends in Formula One. Definitely saved himself an injury there, I would say, the way he climbed that tyre barrier. But even Yuki himself admitted that it was a disgusting and unnecessary accident. I'm in agreement, Yuki. That's why it's an of the week to you, my friend. Great to see him secure a point, though. I mean, a lot of people are slagging it off, saying, well, look at where his teammate ended up. Yeah, but I think you've got to bear in mind it was a really tight, close circuit. It's difficult for overtaking. You've seen it before where drivers have difficult qualifying in such as Australia in really top cars and still struggle to scrape into the points. So, yeah, I think from a pit lane start to a point is a good effort. But that crash in qualifying should not have happened, and that's ultimately why it's an of the week. I'm not saying the drive itself was bad. I think it was good, but you've already done the damage in qualifying, quite literally and figuratively as well. So yeah, not impressive from Yuki at all there, and that is why ultimately it is an of the week to him. It just has to be, I'm afraid. It just has to be. Just outside the points, we come to Fernando Alonso, finishing here in P11, the unluckiest man in Formula One, and I tend to agree this time around. I mean, what can you do? What can you do? It was an early stopper. The VSC came out, that really compacted their weekend already there. After a great qualifying in P5, he was outside the points in that situation, was running around on the fringes of the points from there on, and then that second safety car came out and they had no fresh tyres to put on. I can't believe it. Honestly can't believe it. Like, it just, if it doesn't rain, it pours, doesn't it? Here he is, finishing P11, picking up no points once again, still yet to score on the board for Fernando Alonso. And this was going to be the weekend to do it, wasn't it? But strategy didn't go his way. The timings of everything didn't go his way. And I agree with Alonso, he was the unluckiest man in Formula One today. To get on the fringes of the points after what was theoretically just an awful day at the office, I think still a respectable effort. He didn't give up. Got Hulkenberg towards the end, didn't he? Just couldn't quite get Tsunoda. Yeah, a shame. Big shame. Big shame. And for that reason, I'm going to give Alonso 8.5 this weekend. It's certainly not his fault why he's down here. The pace of that Aston Martin was good. They had good race pace as well as that single lap pace. They have brought some upgrades to the car. I don't think the upgrades are this effective and this good. I just think it suited the car better around Imola. And yeah, overall, I think it was a good performance this weekend by Alonso. But the strategic gamble didn't pay off to pit early, and was just everything was wrong about the race from there on, unfortunately, for Alonso and for Aston Martin. 8.5 to Alonso. What a shame. What a shame. In 12th place, we come to Nico Hulkenberg. Oh, I needed that. Nico Hulkenberg here, finishing P12 on merit. Okay. Yes, he didn't pit during or before that first VSC, and then the VSC came out, so got a really cheap pit stop, which put him in the mix for the final points paying positions. And he drove a really good race to stay inside there. The fact he ends up P12, of course, Tsunoda had a free pit stop, so he had fresher tyres. Lost out to Alonso, who was on older tyres, but again, the pace of that Aston Martin is certainly a lot better than a steak kick me up the arse Sauber, isn't it? Yeah, I don't think there was much more Hulkenberg could have done this weekend. Okay, qualifying wasn't great, out-qualified by his teammate once again. His teammate getting into Q2, Hulkenberg out in Q1, but the race pace itself from him was respectable and decent. Yeah, points were always going to be unlikely, but at least he held on to the points paying opportunities for as long as he possibly could, and I think P12 is a respectable finish in the end for what is a dog shit car. It's going to be 8 from me for Nico, knocking a couple of points off for the poor qualifying performance, and also just for the fact he couldn't quite hold off cars around him. Just a bit disappointed. I think if it had been points, he'd have been getting bonus points from me, but 12's a realistic finishing pace for that Stauber. Had a great race, lucky with the first VSC, but again put himself in that situation. The team put themselves in that situation, and yeah, 8 points overall to Steak, kick me up the arse Saubers, Nico Hulkenberg for what was an impressive day at the office. Still didn't net any points though. Unlucky for some P13, we come to Pierre Gasly in the first of the Alpines. Yeah, difficult one for Gasly. Good qualifying, solid effort, but then was a little bit over-ambitious, trying to stay around the outside of Charles Leclerc while he was trying to overtake up the inside. Bounced it through the gravel, lost a handful of places, and then it was literally damage limitation from there. Pace of the car was good, but had no answer for anything else then, and points were never possible. Once he lost that points-paying opportunity with the gravelly moment, he was never going to get back into him. The pace of the car would not allow. And yeah, even with the timing of the VSC and SC, it didn't work out too well. And yeah, unlucky for some P13. It's a Miller 05 from Pierre Gasly for me, for him. That gravelly moment must be punished, because without that we could have seen him inside the top 10. Maybe even 10th, but that point would have been crucial for him. But yeah, as it stands, it wasn't. It was P13, nowhere near him. Miller 05 for Gasly, an uncharacteristic error in the race. Cost him and the team, really. Finishing in a succulent P14, we come to the second of the Visa Cash App Maxi Tampon RB. Buy one, get one free. Don't forget your AlphaTauri, your Toro Rosso, your Minardi. That's damn right. Damn right it is. It is Liam Lawson.
My final season in Formula 1 was spent with the backmarker HRT team. I had an impressive performance at my home Grand Prix in Monza, where I was briefly up to 8th as I cut the first corner and then took several cars out like they were bowling pins. Fantastic.
And there we have it. Of course it had to be, didn't it? Vit Antonio Liuzzi of the week to Liam Lawson. I honestly don't care if the VSC didn't work out for him, if the safety car timing didn't work out for him, because I'm just getting a bit sick of him, to be honest. Isack Hadjar inside the points once again, and here he is in P14. Didn't look like he had the pace for points at any stage of the race this season or this weekend, and just did a average, mediocre job, and I'm not having it. I'm really not having it from Liam. So yeah, frustrating drive once again, and yeah, he probably was unlucky at times, and maybe, yeah, if all the worlds and stars had aligned, he could have scraped a point, but Isack was P9, and Isack was running round inside the points paying opportunities and around that sort of area for the whole of the race. Liam Lawson saying that the timings of everything were really bad for him. Well, where were you? You were never inside the top 10, were you? So Heck off, basically. Alonso got screwed. You could see that. He was having an impressive race inside the top 10. Carlos Sainz got screwed over. He had an impressive drive inside the top 10. Still scored some points. You, Liam, were nowhere near the points, and then you got screwed over. That seems to be your fault, I'm sorry to say. But if you're trying to blame the fact that you were outside the points, then got screwed over, and then somehow that's the reason you didn't get points, well, where were you going to score them in that situation? If you're doing crap, then you got screwed, how could you have ever done better than shit? Exactly, that's my maths and I'm sticking to it. E equals MC squared, Liam Lawson. It certainly does. And once again, you've gotten off the week. This is fourth one now. So you get 5 and then make another mistake and you're out. So he's borderline disqualified already. And I think he's probably borderline disqualified from RB at this rate. I'm thinking I'm going to try and stick someone else in at this moment in time because he's just not doing anything. Still no points on the board. Just terrible. Absolutely terrible. Liam Lawson. Vit Antonio Liozzi of the week to him. Next up we come to Lance Stroll in the second of the Aston Martin. Screwed over like his teammate really with the timings of everything that went on. Unfortunate team so far down here after what could have been a solid points finish. Qualified himself P8. Finishes here, P15, not fantastic, but not bad either, to be fair. His teammates still on the fringes of the points, though, despite the bad strategic gambles they played and the unfortunate timings of everything. So I do have to mark him down compared to his teammate, but I'm certainly not going to slag him off. I think he's done an okay job this season so far. Lance Stroll, it's 6.5. Take it or leave it, Lance, take it or leave it. I think that's a fair, respectable score. Your teammate's P5, your P8. I'm saying it's a good effort, but there's still 3 places between the two there, and then there's 4 places between them in their finishing positions, despite being equally screwed over. So, compounded to the fact that he'd done a good job, but not as good as his teammate. That's why I'm knocking a couple of points off. But credit where credit's due. Lance should have had a point or two this weekend, but once again, the Aston Martin strategy screwed him over. Crazy to say, crazy to say. 6.5 to Lance Stroll. And next up, we come to the returning Franco Colapinto.
"80 starts and 26 points scored, a ratio of 0.3 points per race. Not bad at all considering 19 of those races were spent with HRT."
And there we have it. Welcome back, Franco. Welcome back to the Crawl Room Championship. There is your first of the week of the season. Fantastic stuff. Absolutely great. What do we talk about Franco, really? What do we talk about him? Of course, we all know what happened. Flavio Briatore, absolute idiot. Apparently, he signed up for 5 races, and then there's rumours saying that we've got Mick Schumacher in the car after 5 races. Flavio Briatore is saying, "Oh no, we've got Franco forever and a day." Well, have we got him forever and a day now after he crashed heavily in qualifying? Not what he needed, and then the pace wasn't there really, and here he is lingering down here. P16, not a good effort, still beaten by his teammate on a gravelly moment, and has to be an of the week for just the sheer amount of damage he caused and for the fact he came back into the sport with a bang, and sometimes in more ways than one as well, because have we seen the pictures, have we seen the photos floating around him, the absolute horn dog going out for meals with older ladies, shall we say, even though he's got a girlfriend. Oh, Franco, you cheeky minx, learning from the best with Flavio there, aren't you, buddy? Oh my god, don't take me down, don't fucking hell any Argentinians watching this, Jesus Christ, I'm gonna get murdered. But unbelievable return, basically, to his Formula 1 career. Great effort, Franco. Great effort in more ways than one. It's an of the week to him for that, though. It has to be. You can't crash in qualifying, and then you can't have an average race performance and expect to get away with it. He might still be the rookie, but he's done plenty of racing so far. And unfortunately, during his time at Williams, he did more crashing than racing. He's continued that form going into the first race for his Alpine team. So let's wait and see what happens in the remaining races. I hope he books his ideas up. I like Franco, nice guy. But today was not a good one. Next up, we come to Ollie Bearman in the first of the Hassers. Wow, oh wow, seeing him so far down here is a shame. He'd looked like he'd done well to get onto the fringe of the points after that first VSC, and then they had to pit him again into the second safety car just because of the timings of everything. They thought, let's pit him again, and then they didn't put the wheel on right, so they had to bring him back in and put another wheel on it, tighten the one up that they'd not tightened up properly, and that caused him to have an extra pit stop and send him down the back of the field, and did nothing from there, unfortunately, and understandably so as well. He was a lap down. He was the only car to be a lap down for ages. Then that safety car came out. He caught up to the back of the crocodile, and then that was that, really. So, yeah, didn't do much from there, but, difficult day at the office for Haas on a whole, really, as opposed to just Bearman. But, I don't think it was all Bearman's doing. Bearman really unlucky as well with that bullshit red flag that he got his lap time deleted for, which we all saw from the timings our side of everything anyway, that he crossed the line, then the red flag came out, so his time should have stood. They deleted it, that knocked him out in Q1. Really unfortunate, that. Absolute bullshit. I don't know what they got against Haas, but that's just that, isn't it? It's 6 to Bearman for me for him. I don't think I can really give him much more than that, despite the fact this weekend really wasn't his fault, to be honest. Poor qualifying, not really his fault. He'd done a time good enough to get into Q2. Bullshit reasons took him out of that. The first VSC got him favourably inside the top 12, top 13 area, something like that. Then they pitted him again, didn't put the wheel on correctly, sent him to the back of the grid and packing, and that was that. So yeah, 6 to Bearman. Difficult day at the office for him and for Haas on the whole, but it wasn't all Bearman's doing. I just think you can't really score him much more than 6 when I've given people that have had better drives, I would say, only a 7 or an 8. So yeah, I'm leaving it at that, but no criticism against Bearman this time around. 6 to him. Hope he can bounce back stronger in Monaco. Then we come to the last of the finishers on this list, of course, and it is Gabriel Bortoleto in the second of the Steak Kick Me Up the Arse Saubers. Difficult day at the office for him. Unfortunately, did they pit under green flag conditions after the safety car? Someone did, didn't they? Or that could have been Bearman, actually, with the loose wheel, thinking about it. But yeah, Bortoleto, it was a tough day at the office. Had a great start with his qualifying P14. Don't really think you can ask much more of that state car. The race itself slipped backwards to around 16th. First VSC wasn't great because he'd already pitted and it was at the back, and then the VSC means he can't catch back up again. So he's sort of one hand tied behind his back in that scenario as well. And then I think the second safety car screwed him a little bit as well. But ultimately, it wasn't as good as his teammate. 4 points. 4 points to Bortoleto for that. A solid weekend overall, but a little bit less than average compared to his teammate. Then we come to the list of retirements. The last to retire in the race, so the first on this list, of course, is Andrea Kimi Antonelli in the second of the Mercedes. Unfortunately for him, he lost throttle. So that was that. That was him out of the race. This weekend overall for him, though, has been a tough one. It must be said. He was really distracted on Thursday, similarly to Franco Colapinto, invited his friends round from his school, taking all the pictures with the ladies. I'm not fully convinced we didn't get up to some antics, did we, overnight, Kimi? Because he was saying in the interviews afterwards, I've been distracted this weekend. I bet you have. I bet you have been distracted, you naughty little minx. Yes, so, Andrea Kimi Antonelli playing with more than his Mercedes this weekend. Unfortunately meant for him a poor qualifying, probably a bit of a restless night, to be fair, the night before. Then qualifying came and went, poor qualifying, and then the race itself looked to be favourable in the first VSC, and then he caused the second safety car, so we didn't know what he was capable of there. Points would have happened, I'm sure, but don't be inviting your friends round, especially the lady friends, Andrea. Doesn't go well. Doesn't go well. Women are trouble. You should know that by now, Andrea. You've learnt your lesson. You had a poor qualifying after a rough night the night before. Calm it down, son. But yeah, Andrea, distracted in his own words. Fucking distracted. Distracted! Jesus Christ. I'd just be in a corner puffing. So a maximum of 5 points that Andrea can score for a retirement. That's the my across the rule board in there. If you retire from the race for whatever reason, the maximum you can get is 5. He's getting 3. He's getting 3. Andrea Kimi Antonelli this weekend. I don't think he'll be too mad about me for that. His Mercedes was played with in more ways than one. And then last but by no means least, we come to Esti Bestie Ocon. Esti Bestie to you. Ain't like Esti Bestie Ocon. What can be said about his race weekend, really? Out in Q1, but it wasn't like his teammate where he got shafted by the FIA. He just had poor pace. Probably unfortunate timing with the red flag. I don't care. But yeah, out in Q1, poor effort. And then his car broke down, causing the first VSC and around lap 20 odd, wasn't it? And he was running round at the back at that point. Anyway, it's 2 points, and he can thank me for them to Esti Bestie Ocon this weekend, this time around. Again, a maximum retirement can score 5. I didn't see anything impressive of it to give him anywhere close to 5. He gets 2. He gets 2 points to Esti Bestie, and that's that. So everything, guys, those were the runners and riders of the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. Let me know down in the comment section if I score any drivers too high, any too low. The updated standings with the scores I just awarded are on the screen now for you to take a look at. Now have a look and see where your favourite driver is. There's some shifters and movers around, isn't there? Oh, God, Liam Lawson, what are you doing, my friend? What are you doing? Franco off to a difficult start as well with an of the week for his first race weekend. God, don't shoot me, anyone, for Jesus' sake. But yeah, some impressive drives up and down the field there. Particularly impressed with the likes of Hulkenberg. Particularly impressed with the likes of Hadjar, Alex Albon, Sainz making a good recovery as well. And they all get some good scores this weekend, so I'm pleased for them for that. McLaren, book your ideas up. You've been threatened now with what I threatened at the start of the video. If you don't win the championship, you get disqualified. It's as simple as that. If you're not already disqualified beforehand, if I'm not sick of you already. But yeah, they need some ultimatum, don't they, because they're doing very poorly in very, very capable machinery. Let's take a look at the team standings as well then. They're also on the screen for you. I'm not adjusting anything this time around. Whatever the drivers have scored and added together, they can have that on the points tally. I don't mind. They can have them. I'm not going to deduct anything from it. We're a start of the triple header. Normally by the triple of the header, I've got some points ready to add on or deduct. We shall see. But for now, I'm keeping it everything as it is. A massive thanks as always goes out to Dan Bartlett, of course, formerly of Mushy Gaming, for providing me with the scoreboard that you saw on your screen, for the driver icons in the corner of your screen, and for the intro as well. Without him, this series would be more pointless than it already is. And of course, Mr. Dave, F1 Games PlayStation, for providing me with the of the weeks that you don't necessarily know because they're a different one each week, but you know you're going to love them. He pulls them out of the bag every single time. Vitantonio Liuzzi this time to grace our presence. What a hero. So yeah, that's it, guys. I will see you all next Tuesday, 6 PM for the Monaco Cruel Room. Looking forward to that. It's the double pit stop rule as well. There must be 2 pit stops per car, per team, per race, or whatever it is. There's got to be 2 stops anyway per car. So look forward to seeing if that adds a different dynamic to a circuit that's normally difficult for overtaking. Yeah, see if Ferrari can screw that one over massively. Let's see. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and as always, much love.